The next part of our Reformation topic is the Imperial Cult. So the key questions to make notes on are, number 1, how and why did Augustus want to be regarded as divine? Number 2, what balance did he need to maintain? Number 3, how was he worshipped in the provinces? And number 4, how was he honoured at Rome? So a bit of background. So Augustus already had some divine connections. So firstly, Julius Caesar had been deified in 42 BC after his death, and this made Augustus Divi Filius, or son of a god, and this was a connection that he promoted throughout his reign. The Julians also claimed to be related to Aeneas, who was the son of Venus and therefore Jupiter. Having gained power by force in a bitterly fought civil war, Augustus was aware that he could easily lose it again. So he was therefore prepared to use any tool at his disposal to strengthen his claim to the imperial throne and make it harder for his enemies to overthrow him. So an important part of this strategy involved religion. So the emperor was the most powerful man on earth, but this wasn't enough. Whereas if Augustus was seen as the supreme spiritual leader, this would help him. There were a number of gods and spirits in Roman religion, and turning political leaders into gods was an old tradition around the Mediterranean. And there were also precedents in Roman history. So Aeneas, the descendant of Augustus, and also Romulus before him, who helped found Rome, were already worshipped as gods. However, he needed to maintain a really careful balance between exploiting the propaganda possibilities of his near divinity and appearing to be worshipped as a god. So he emphasized his divine connections, but at the same time he promoted his modest and frugal lifestyle. So what we just talked about was about as much as the Romans could believe. Augustus could be descended from the gods. But in the eastern provinces, it was far more common for rulers to be seen as gods. And so when he came to power, Augustus was automatically considered to be a god. Before him, these regions had worshipped the goddess Roma, the Senate, or the governor of their particular province, so worshipping Augustus came quite naturally as an extension of this. And for Augustus, this had its advantages politically, because worshipping the divine ruler of Rome would unite the empire. So the practice also spread to some of the western provinces that didn't have a lot of Roman citizens. For example, some altars to Augustus were set up in Gaul. But Augustus had to be really careful not to upset Roman citizens who lived in these provinces. And so quite often he was worshipped alongside the goddess Roma as its protector, and other provinces would worship Rome and the deified Julius instead. At Rome, the situation was slightly different. There was no cult to Roma in Rome itself, and the Romans would never have accepted worshipping their emperor. So he had to give himself these sorts of honours in other ways. So, as we already said, he had the title of Divi Filius, or son of a god. His genius, or guardian spirit, was worshipped the same way that the genius of a pater familias, or head of the household, was worshipped by a family. His name Augustus, you remember, had religious overtones, and his title of pater patriae had religious overtones as well, because pater, or father, was also often used of the gods. Literature also promoted the idea that he would become a god after he died, and so if he was going to become a god later, these honours didn't really seem excessive while he was alive. And he was also honoured by public hymns, prayers, and statues. So, key questions, make sure you've got notes. How and why did he want to be regarded as divine? What balance did he need to maintain? How was he worshipped in the provinces? And how was he honoured at Rome? If you have any problems, let me know and we can discuss them in class.